Good evening and welcome to the People's Platform. My guest tonight is Miss Earth Australia Charity. Her name is Himaya Vijayveera. I'm delighted to welcome you to the show. Good evening and welcome to you, Himaya.
Good evening.
Himaya, speak to us about your journey being crowned as Miss Earth Australia Charity.
Well, being crowned Miss Earth Australia Charity has been a very big achievement for me. It has been a very long journey, but a very fulfilling one. It started in 2018, but that was when my pageant journey started. But now this year in 2020, I was very lucky to have the opportunity to participate in the state tournament, and now I was crowned the national queen as well.
Okay, fantastic. You have a specific focus on environmental conservation and sustainability. Speak to us about this aspect.
Well, I think as a participant in the Miss Earth competition, you have to have those connections and a focus on the environment yourself. And that's what this Miss Earth title is about. It's about having that connection to an environment, having those goals to be more sustainable in your life. And yeah, so this focus started for me when I was exposed to all the paper wastage that happens within the hospitals. In Australia, we are very lucky to have funding to promote like an electronic solution for our paper wastage, but I still saw with my placements where I was exposed to still a large amount of paper wastage. And so this started my environmental journey for me, where I wanted to find a solution which was both, I guess, affordable and efficient.
You are a full-time student completing your bachelor's in nursing.
Yes, I am.
Yes, so again, more altruism. It's almost, nursing is almost a vocation or a calling as opposed to being a job. And you were crowned Miss Earth Australia in the charity category, so it's all aligning there.
It's definitely linked. I think that resonates with my personality of giving to others and giving back to, I guess, my environment, giving back to the people, and not just making it focused on myself, caring about more elements than just myself. So yeah.
Okay. One of the aspects or one of the opportunities that come with being crowned Miss Earth Australia would be your capacity to go into schools, go into situations and educate. So speak to us about how you plan to use this platform to create awareness, to create knowledge dissemination among people, among students, among children. When it comes to environmental conservation?
So, Sonali, my working with children, that comes from having this platform to be able to educate. And I think education is a very key founding factor for the future. And I guess focusing with our students and our younger sisters or younger brothers, our younger generation, to kind of send messages and focus on the goals of being more sustainable is really important. So with that, I have kind of worked with principals and higher leaders to work with schools, to work with different programs to teach environmental acts and how we can be more sustainable. But not just the younger generation, the generation now. So our adults and our young teens, making this a target to all. I have worked with many events, whether it's focused on the environment or not, to shed a little bit of light on the environment and our issues today, because I think it's everyone's problem. It's not an issue that's just going to go away overnight. And yeah, using this platform to create awareness. Awareness ties into that education aspect, and that's what's really important here.
Himaya, what have been some of the most successful education campaigns that you've done? And I'm asking this because in Sri Lanka, this is an issue that we constantly grapple with. Although we say that we have 90% literacy rate in Sri Lanka, environmental literacy is at an abysmal rate, as a result of which we see mega-scale development projects which are short-sighted, which don't pass the regulatory frameworks or the environmental impact assessments, etc. Hence, there is a dire need to create these awareness programs and spaces for these conversations to be had. So speak to us about some of the most effective campaigns that you've been a part of.
So to make an effective campaign nowadays, I would say there has to be some sort of reward system. So I guess not just saying, do the right thing, but kind of acknowledging people for doing the right thing is really important. Whether it's just a small acts we do, but a reward system, whether it's be a compliment system, or whether you try to, I guess, give those people a platform too. That's what my campaign has also been about. Whether you teach or not, your message is being put out. Whether other people reciprocate that is important. It means you've been heard. So that's what my education, so I try to educate in the hopes that other people will pass the message. And it's like a reminder, and I think that's really effective, reminding people through rewarding or reminding people with constant messages, and that's what builds a good campaign towards these issues.
Okay. In Sri Lanka, we are currently experiencing the worst economic crisis of our times. You're witnessing it right now as well. As an ambassador for Sri Lanka, you were born here, although you live in Australia and work and study in Australia. How do you think people such as yourself, as ambassadors, can create a more positive outlook for and on behalf of Sri Lanka?
So the positive outlook for me is like finding this island home. And I guess that's what I try to promote, whether it be our ancient history or what our country has to offer in terms of hospitality. I think we really have a good system going with those. So I try to focus on my social platforms and with my title to, I guess, show off Sri Lanka. And I have been doing that on my socials and kind of show Sri Lanka for what it has to offer. In terms of tourism, I like to show like Sri Lanka's bright spots, but also the local stuff that we might not be exposed to. And I like try to show it off in the hopes that people kind of see that for its beauty and come down here and visit Sri Lanka. So that's, with my holiday in Sri Lanka, that's what I've been trying to do. I've had 6 lovely weeks here, and I guess showing all the sites that we've visited and all the towns that we grew up in, that has been really important. And I actually have convinced many people to come down and see Sri Lanka's beauty, whether it be my friends or my followers. Everyone, like a lot of people have been showing positive feedback. So yeah, there's a lot to show off about Sri Lanka, and I think that should be a focus for all.
Okay, fantastic. Because at times we see even protests or the economic crisis and certain aspects of it, and its reportage in Western media, for example, could be deceiving. Or
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So I think it's every country or every situation has its positive and its negatives. And I guess right now we are being dragged through the mud because of those negatives. But there is still definitely that positive of what we do still have to offer that we need to focus on. And if those can be brought to light, we could definitely have a change. And I think that's what my focus has been on, in kind of showing our Lanka as this beautiful place that we definitely have a lot to offer. Yes, we are going through something, but it doesn't mean everything else is also gone. It's just something we have to build ourselves back from.
Himaya, you also work as a disability support worker and student nurse. In Sri Lanka, an issue that we face is that the disability discourse is not mainstreamed, as a result of which people with disabilities struggle on all platforms, whether it be legislation or infrastructure or equal access to opportunities. How is this different from the situation in Australia? Speak to us through your work, through your experience living in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. So I am a disability support worker, and it's very like a big opportunity for me to give back or help others. And I think charity-wise, like that is what this resonates with me. So in my experience, I've been able to help different people with going through different things as themselves. So basically being a disability support worker for me is allowing or assisting someone to live a meaningful life despite what they're going through. So with that, it's about equality and equity, so allowing everyone to have that opportunity to access what they need despite their disability, and then also having the same equal rights as a person without a disability. So in terms of that, in Australia, it has been very highly focused on, which is a very rewarding thing, but every system has its neglect on some areas. But we can definitely take example for Australia's scheme of the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which allows people to get the supports that they need, because at the end of the day, we are all equal, and if we do neglect these issues, like, it is still, we should definitely focus on them, because instead of neglecting them, these are the issues that we do face today, and it isn't just people with disability who should face this, like, it should all be important to us as well.
Just a few months ago, the world saw COP27 climate change summit being held in Egypt. A lot of nations were present, and several undertakings were made by the Sri Lankan government and other jurisdictions, states as well. When it comes to climate change adaptation, and education surrounding it, actions that we can take to better protect the environment, how do you view this discourse? What can we do as citizens, as individuals, as a society? As
an individual, I think there is still a lot that we can do, and it still comes from those little basic things as using less water or fixing a dripping tap, using less electricity. It just comes from very household things, or not littering when we go out, kind of picking up litter as well when we see it, instead of just walking past because it's just grubby to touch. I think it's everyone's problem. I think it's very a common thing to just neglect these issues because they're not our own. But it's everyone's problem at the end of the day. Everyone has their target to kind of make those issues their own. And I guess so I came up with a motto, or a slogan. It's called Strive for Sustainability. And it focuses on these little things that we can do in our households, in our daily lives, instead of, I guess, waiting for a later impact. It's making our problem about now in the present. So in Australia, we go through 56 pieces of clothing a year. So we buy these a minimum 56 pieces of clothing. So that was kind of shocking for me. I guess we do have those resources to be just buying it, but it was just shocking to see 56 pieces a year. What would we do with all that? So it got me thinking, how could we be more sustainable? Whether it was using secondhand clothes or going to a thrift store, there's still so much we can get from those stores, because at the end of the day, they just end up in large waste dumps. And using upcycling bins to give our fabrics back so we can have more textiles to build with them. All these little things, at the end of the day, were big key messages that maybe someone didn't know. So it's about passing down and kind of not neglecting those little things. And there's so many little things we could do. Turning off the tap, using less water, kind of saving water, collecting water, using less plastic. There's so many things that we could do. It's very small things as well. It doesn't have to be a big thing. People think you have to do big things, move mountains to do something, but it's very small. We are in a conversation with Himaya. We will be back after a short commercial break. Stay with us.
A leader with no corruption. They're looking for a party that represents the things that people, in particular in the last year, have been calling for.
This year's budget is about 600 billion rupees.
All of those laws need to be changed. The public should have access to the assets in declaration.
How does your party appeal to that minority majority in this people. Newsline, Monday to Friday at 8:30 p.m. on TV1.
Across all walks of life, listening to the people, visiting door to door, witnessing the truth firsthand. This is the heart of the village. Gammata, for the people, by the people.
self image හැම කෙනාම තමන්ගේ වැඩේ හරියට කරා නම් අපි නැගිටිනවා. බරපතල චෝදනාවක් තියෙනවා දුම්රිය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ අතිකාල සඳහා විශාල මුදලක්. පැහැදිලිවම ලංකාවේ අයිස් ප්‍රචලිත වුණා.
ඒ කන්න දෙන බත් ටික ඒ පිගානට එන එක කඩින් හාල් කන කෙනාට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ.
කව ආරම්භ වෙච්ච පොලිස් සංස්කෘතිය නෙමෙයි දැන් මේ වෙද්දි තියෙන්නේ. පුද්ගලයා පොලිසියට ආවට පස්සේ අපි යන්නේ ඕනද? සංචාරකයන්ට විකුණන්නේ ඔවුන්ගේ සිහින.
චර දේවල් ලැබුණත් මදි.
මට පෞද්ගලිකව දෙනවා නම් තපල් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මම දන්නවා ලාභ හොයන හැටි.
Welcome back. You're with the People's Platform. We're in conversation with Miss Earth Australia charity, Himaya Vijayveera. Himaya, let's speak about some of the key environmental sustainability issues that we need to address as a society. What are some of the key issues that you have identified?
I think there are very many to discuss, but let's focus on some. So there's definitely climate change, whether you like to believe it or not. It is something that's happening. Waste production, with its access to where it ends up, we have a lot of waste, whether it's plastic, clothing, the rubbish, the food that we use throughout the day. Overfishing, because people have access to the means to fish. I think when we do need our resources, we kind of tend to neglect how our sustainable practices should be put in place to make sure that we aren't just taking away from ecosystems, because at the end of the day, these things are all linked together. So you take one element away, the whole infrastructure falls apart. There's ocean acidification. So as the climate does get hotter here and we do produce more carbon dioxide, the water and the oceans tend to absorb in our heat. And with that, the temperature of the ocean does increase as well. So again, with that whole infrastructure of the food chain or our ecosystems on land and beneath, we can see our devastation today with the coral reefs that are impacted by this. So just one change in 1 degree in the ocean gets rid of many of our beautiful corals. And the corals aren't just for our visual pleasure, but they are the homes of our fish, and they are important in those ecosystems. Same with water pollution. Just because we can't find a good way to get rid of our rubbish, people tend to just leave it outside or let it be thrown away. Recently in Colombo, we were coming back from a trip and I just saw, I guess, a motorbike or a bicycle rushing past the bridge and throwing a big garbage bag over the bridge because it wasn't his problem anymore. It was just going to end up in the lake or the river and just go downstream. And just like that, on land, we can see in our little canals in the edges of our rivers that there is a big build-up of this rubbish. And whether someone decides to address it or not, it needs to be collected. It needs to go to the right ends where waste is managed. So yeah, these are our major environmental issues, and they are very important because it's not a issue about whether it's left for later, because it is our moment to act now and rid these issues and find the sustainable practices that we can put into place, because it is our problem now and not just the future generations.
Himaya, there is a lack of urgency among the majority of Sri Lankans when it comes to climate change and the other environmental concerns that you raised. people just have other priorities. Climate change is not really on the top of their agenda. How do we combat that?
It might not be at the top of your agenda, but how about your kids? How about your children's children? We can't just, I think we need to really steer away from the selfishness of ourselves. At the end of the day, it's not just about us, it's about our future generations, about our children, our brothers, our sisters. What about them? Who's going to speak for them? Yes, it might not be a problem now, but think about the children in the schools. Maybe they're busy playing, but we have the means. We have the knowledge. Why not act? Why leave it? That's why I don't understand it. It's so simple as well.
Yeah.
You can't just wait for it to be too late to act, because then there it is. It's too late. Why not do it when we have the means? Why not do it when we have the knowledge, when we have the resources? We are at a moment where we can take a turning point. Why wait till it's late?
Beautifully spoken. Himaya, I'd like to bring in one of the key stakeholders who have the power to act on this, the policymakers, the parliamentarians.
Okay.
In Australia, I believe there are very strong laws when it comes to environmental conservation and protection. In Sri Lanka too, we have a legal regulatory framework. However, the implementation is a whole other thing. So that's an area that Sri Lanka struggles with. In addition to the lack of knowledge and know-how among the citizenry, there is also this other issue of implementation of laws when it comes to environment. This juxtaposition, how do you view it?
I'd like to say that governments are definitely the ones with the power. They have their platform to definitely do something to make a change. So it's either ignorance or maybe prioritizing somewhere else that I guess these issues do get neglected, because at the end of the day, unless you make it your problem, it isn't. So and maybe that's the same with the government. Maybe they're funding, maybe they're prioritizing. We are definitely going through something. So I guess there can be that excuse, but at the end of the day, you still have a platform, you still have the ability to do something. Whether you put in small, simple laws, it has to start somewhere. And just because you put in those laws doesn't mean okay, that's the end. You have to follow through, you have to make it a little bit stricter. And it's when these policies, laws, guidelines, objectives are met, you can actually see the change. So whether you bribe a cop to look the other way, or tell someone it's all right, it's not my problem anymore. Think about it for the long run, like think about it as to what, like morally, it's our moral obligation to do something. Definitely for those who are in Parliament, who are in the government, they can definitely do something about it. They have the platform, but they leave it to the others, I guess.
There are equally also people, groups, organizations who are deeply passionate about the environment. They're the ones holding the billboards, the placards, going on protests, filing public interest litigation whenever there are attempts to sort of the environmental destruction. So to these leaders of advocacy, what do you say to them to make their voices heard more? How must they do that?
I guess advocacy can come through anything. It doesn't just have to be through a riot. It can definitely be through positive protesting as well. There is a way to go about things, but I'm still very proud of anyone who uses their platform, who uses their voice to, I guess, bring light to these major issues that we do need to focus on. So whether you do it to bring light to a large crowd or the person sitting next to you, I think we can advocate wherever we go, we can send a message wherever we go. It isn't just about doing it once or twice. Why not do it throughout your life? Why not do it throughout what you do today? My platform comes from being a pageant queen, but I still stand here being a 20-year-old trying to, I guess, bring light to these issues, because it's not just a problem for me, it's for the person sitting next to me and that big crowd as well.
Let's speak a bit about the pageant as well. How has this sort of changed or transformed the way you view life itself?
I wouldn't say it changed much, because I'd like to say that, you know, I'm still very dedicated. I still take every opportunity as it comes. So this just helped me, I guess, kind of push what I needed to into place. Like, I'm very passionate about environmentalism. I'm very passionate about being sustainable, and I'm very passionate about educating others. So whether the platform is built through Miss Earth or not, I guess charity in my title means a lot to me. It resonates with the person I am, with giving back to others, giving back to the community, giving back to the environment. So I guess the pageant really helped, I guess, let other people see. More than giving me the platform to show it off, it let other people kind of focus on those problems that I had to talk about. And, you know, it doesn't have to just be me. It could be anyone sitting here in this chair. It could be anyone with this title today. I just like to think that, you know, the listeners, to anyone who likes to listen to my message, would also do the same, pass it down.
Yeah, and it absolutely amplifies your voice,
Definitely.
which is a good thing. Speak to us about some of your plans in the future. What do you plan on doing?
So with my nursing, it does finish this year, hopefully. I graduate, and, you know, I would love to definitely come back to Sri Lanka with, you know, my degree, hopefully hold some medical camps, give back, again, with the charity, give back to my community, help in what ways I can. I definitely can find the resources and would like to push that. So whether I do medical camps, whether I like to come to Sri Lanka and tell the top schools and the local schools about our environmental issues, maybe those who did not get to watch this program, I'd definitely like to go and make a one-on-one impact as well. Yeah, and in the future kind of still push the Sri Lankan beauty through my social media, through my voice, through my peers, through my students. I'd like to tell them all about Sri Lanka, just so I can get someone else to also come down and see it and pass on that message as well.
Himaya, how important is it to work in collaboration with other stakeholders in a bid to amplify your voice, your message further?
One person can do a lot, but it takes that one person to, I guess, get the crowd moving. So I think it is very important to make a change as a collective. And look, it takes that one person to do the right thing to show another person to do the right thing. And a big crowd can definitely be heard, but we shouldn't neglect the idea that one person can also still do a lot. But yes, definitely connections and I guess being surrounded by the right people is definitely important to get your message across, and I guess relating with another person also amplifies your message. And being able to relate those messages, you can definitely make a change as a group, but yeah, as a person, individually, you must hold those moral obligations to heart.
Himaya, before wrapping up this interview, a question on beauty standards for you. Most Sri Lankan women struggle with colorism. Fairer skin is better. As a result of which we have so many young women resorting to whitening creams, which are invariably covered in bleach and unregulated, and a sense of not being worthy, not being beautiful. If you take these campaigns in India, across India, this is also a very South Asian concept, where darker skin is not considered beautiful. As a brown-skinned woman representing Australia at this pageant, speak to us about how you deal with or how you view this concept of colorism.
Well, this concept of colorism, I would say, is biased. I guess it's about what you let other people think. This comes from the idea that other people have kind of had an impact on your worth and on how you view yourself. So I think me being a brown-skinned girl and, you know, living in Australia, it is a very multicultural country that we get different people every day. But I think you have to be comfortable in your own skin, in your own mindset, as a woman, as a person, to kind of look at yourself in the mirror and say, no one else judges me but me. And whether you think beauty is what is on the outside, there is definitely, you should take in the factor of who you are on the inside as a person. Beauty can't come just from the external features that we have today, because at the end of the day, what you look like in the present is not what you'll look like in another year, in another 3 years' time. And but our mindset, we can carry that throughout our entire lifetime, you know? And I think personality, characteristics, and your mindset is usually quite literally makes you you. Mm-hmm. And that's where we should focus on, our mindset and how it makes us be portrayed, our characteristics. What skills do we have? What talents do we have? Beauty can't come from the external features, whether you're fair or whether you're dark. There's beautiful people everywhere in the world. You can take really dark-skinned girls. They have something that really fair-skinned girls don't. Everyone's different, and I don't understand why there should be a box that says, yep, you're pretty, yep, you're beautiful, yep, you're fair. We are different for a reason. If we were all the same, we're just a copy-paste of each other. What makes us unique?
Okay, fantastic. Himaya Vijayveera, thanks so much for joining us on the program. And I wish you all the very best with everything.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching us. We'll see you again on Monday with the Sinhala edition of the People's Platform. Have a safe weekend. Good night.
විස්සයි විසිතුන ගම්මැද්ද කඩිනම් ව්‍යාපෘතිය යටතේ මහියංගනය බේවැත්ත ඇඹල මැද්ද රට නගන ජනපෞර.
A very good evening and welcome back to The Brief at 30 here on TV1.
The Brief at 30.
The Brief at 30 here on TV1.
Welcome back to The Brief at 30 on TV1.
News can be overwhelming, but we make it simple. Watch The Brief at 30 on TV1, Facebook Live and YouTube. Every weekday 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
To watch online, look for the Newsfirst.lk English page on Facebook and hit the like button, or search for @newsfirst.english on YouTube and subscribe to the Newsfirst English page. Don't forget to hit the notification bell.
The Brief at 30, your trusted Ollie news update.
Oh wait, The Brief at 30 next up. Take care.
ඔබ අභියෝගයට සූදානම්ද? තරුණ නායකයින් සඳහාම එන්න අපි නායකත්වය ගැන කතා කරමු.
V4's Young Leaders Forum.
ස්ටයින් මැදිරි සංකීර්ණයේදී ඔබ අදම ලියාපදිංචි වන්න 0777 6020.
ගම්මැද්ද V4's
අරමුණ දිනන පෙරමුණ.
The peoples of Sri Lanka, don't you think that they should be inspired to greater faith and hope, led by that wonderful Supreme Court of Sri Lanka?
Of course, the big issue that Sri Lanka always has been focusing on is that spending on election campaigns is excessive in Sri Lanka. So that is also one of the things that should be regulated.
This is why we have been telling the government of Sri Lanka for the past 25 years that there should be a project development mechanism. There should be a project appraisal mechanism.
They sign. They put the red carpet until you come and sign it. But the day you sign on the dotted line, from the very next day itself, they ask you a bribe. Either they ask you a bribe or you always give the answer as no, no, no.
News First Newsline. Every weekday at 8:30 p.m. on TV1.
තුරුල්ලේ ලංවෙලා හිත්මඩුල්ලේ නැවතිලා ගත ඇසිල්ලේ දැවටිලා ළඟම උන්නා එදා ස්නේහවන්තී ඔයා ස්නේහවන්තී විඳලා හීන පිරුවා තුරුලේම රැඳිලා මතක පිරුවා දැවටි දැවටි ඇලලි ඇලලි ආදරේම දුන්නා එදා ස්නේහවන්ති ඔයා ස්නේහවන්ති ඔබගේ මහදර දුනා ඔබ නෑ කියා අද හදරි තුම් දෙනවා දැවටි දැවටි ඇලලි ඇලලි ආදරේම දුන්නා එදා